no coincidence is my excitement for the eagerly anticipated RTS from former Warcraft and StarCraft devs at
This is it,
Giant
boys.
Studios. It's Stormgate. And today, we don't just get the chance to get some exclusive first look at some Stormgate gameplay, but we're also joined by Frost Giant's president and game director,
It's Tim!
Campbell, here to tell us exactly how Stormgate will delight all minds, artificial or otherwise. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Now, I've been following Stormgate for years, but for those of us who haven't, what is Stormgate?
Stormgate is our modern take on the classic real-time strategy game formula. It's what
The
we think of as
gameplay.
a spiritual successor to franchises like Warcraft, StarCraft, Command and Conquer. And real-time strategy games are the type of game where you can control an entire battlefield. So this classic RTS formula includes harvesting resources, building sprawling bases, commanding huge armies on the battlefield.
What is it about Stormgate that's new?
We believe that the RTS genre
The dogs.
is something that should be enjoyed by players of all skill levels. And so we've put a lot of effort into making sure that Stormgate feels good, whether you're a pro with high technical skill and you love competitive play, or whether it's something that you just want to be able to relax with and experience a story.
Now, Tim, I understand that you brought, for all of us, but in particular for me, a present to show today. What are you going to show, Tim?
We are going to show gameplay from the pre-alpha of Stormgate.
Yeah.
Pre-alpha
Now, this is something
gameplay.
that we are big believers in at Frost Giant. We want to share this current state of the game today.
Let's take a look.
Okay, shh, everyone.
Oh, Tim, I'm so excited. And right away, this looks like an RTS. Tell me what we're seeing.
This is the classic start to a 1v1 match. What you're seeing here is the human faction as they're sending workers out to harvest resources. They're starting to construct building. They actually build them by 3D printing them from the ground up. And you can see them now starting to train troops so they can have an army that goes out in the field to fight.
Yeah, and I mean, right here, we see in the corner coming up, this looks like a scout unit.
Yeah, that is literally a cybernetic dog with laser eyes. It is called the Scout, okay? It's designed for early game. It's a unique unit to the human faction.
Right.
And you can see him now running through the base trying to see what information he can find out about his enemy.
Yeah, I mean, scouting and information is such an important part of RTS games.
It really is, and this is something that we've embraced early game. The Scout unit has been designed so it can actually sense units beyond its sight radius. So it's
awesome.
especially useful early on.
So we're heading into what looks like the first engagement of this game. What do we see?
Did you see that?
Well, what we're seeing right here is the Red Scout getting surprised by a group of blue troops coming through the Light Force, which is the new train type and a twist on the tactical battlefield here.
And how do these light forests work?
The Light Force lets smaller units move through them. They have concealment. It's allowed Blue to raid Red's base, in which case Red is barely getting a turret built with their speed building from their workers, another human faction advantage. And they're about to pop out a couple extra defenders here from their mech base.
So we got these huge mechs, and I mean, just visually, it looks like they are countering the heck out of these blue infantry, but can these red mechs fit through the forest?
No, they're too big to go through. They're heavy units. They're designed to use the chain guns to go through groups of enemies, but they can't fit through the Light Force, which Blue knew and used to his advantage.
Okay, so we're in mid-game. This is normally where you make some big tech decisions. What's Red up to?
You're seeing Red commit to a tech path that gives them big battlefield mechs and air units like this evac.
And it looks like they're just dropping right on top of Blue, who was killing a chicken? What's the chicken there, Tim?
Yeah, that's a giant chicken with a Viking helmet on it. Use your imagination. Stormgate's in pre-alpha, and that's art that we haven't gotten to yet, but imagine it as a big Mad Max Raider.
It's the most threatening placeholder art for now. And oh, I see Red diving onto Blue, and hey, picking back up into the air.
Oh.
That's some classic high-level micro.
It is, and it's really important for
The
Stormgate
pickup.
that we maintain a high skill ceiling so that players can express themselves on the battlefield by maneuvering and how they interact with the battlefield.
And here we have the final fight of the game, and it looks like Blue is coming up against those mechs. Red is trapped on the other side of the trees. Oh, wait, they can blast through them now? And Blue's dodging these enormous shots, and we can also see Blue swarming in from both sides. This is not looking good for Red.
No, it's pretty grim.
This is
Red
fucking
is on the ropes
very
right
good
here.
shit.
They've been outmaneuvered. They're caught in the corner here between two different forces coming in with a mobile pincer.
Man, and of course,
There's the GGs.
the most classic ending.
Monk
to an
and
RTS
TLO.
game, GG. Get Tastosis on that stat. Outside of 1v1, what's coming up for Stormgate?
What you've seen today is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's like if siege tanks were shit.
We're going to be revealing a bunch of stuff about Stormgate the rest of this year. We're introducing new modes. We have a 3-player versus AI cooperative mode. We have team-based competitive
That's
mode.
funny.
We're gonna be sharing information about our storyline and campaign. We have new factions beyond the humans that you just saw today.
But Tim, what if I want to play the game right now?
If
It's
you
a good
wanna play the
question,
game
Day9.
as soon as possible, you wish list Stormgate on Steam, and you go to playstormgate.com to sign up for the beta. We're starting closed testing in July.
Once again, go to Steam and wishlist Stormgate. Tim, thank you so much again for joining us, not just to talk about the 1v1 footage you shared, but the future content plans of Stormgate. It makes the RTS players' dreams come true. Which might not be your dreams. I mean, your dreams might be filled with gloriously grimy Deus Ex-inspired sci-fi fisticuffs with a fiendishly Star Wars vibe to it. If so, get a load of this latest trailer for Fortune's Run.
Okay. Yes. So that is I had seen that footage before. That is the gameplay that we got showed at the VIP event that I participated in a couple weeks ago now, a few weeks ago now. But yeah, they got to show some really cool stuff, in my opinion. Yes, that we didn't get to see any Infernals, no Infernal gameplay. That's not yet. They were just wanting to focus on showing, I think, their most fleshed out and ready to go faction, which is the humans. I don't know what their state of production is for the Infernals, so I could be wrong about that. But I know that when they wanted to show gameplay, they really want to make sure that they're showing the thing they have that's closest to the finished product as possible. So they I'm sure don't want to reveal or show a faction or units or anything like that that look incomplete or look clunky or look not good on the screen. So they're leading with their best foot. They're going forward with whatever they have. We do have, I can show you guys some screenshots. So we do have these. So yeah, this showcased some of the units that have been revealed already. The mech, I think, so they're trying to do a similar thing with StarCraft, right? In a way with their humans, where you kind of, I believe, are supposed to have two different types of modes of play, where you're looking at more mech baby based ones and then more potentially bio based ones. Again, I don't know. I'm just going off of what we've seen so far. But yeah, we got to see some of these units revealed on Twitter by Tasteless and by, it was Grubby, and I can't remember who the third one was that revealed the unit. But let's take a look at some of the shots. It looks like, and again, I don't actually have, just to be very clear, I don't actually have like an understanding of what the units are supposed to play like, any sort of like mechanics or data or information or numbers or anything like that. So we're just going on relative gameplay. Things that we were able to see in this, like some information that's now more available. Did you play some? I did. I did get to play the game. Honestly, when I did get to play it, I didn't play a ton. I maybe played for like 30, 40 minutes. It was still very early on in the development. So there wasn't a ton to necessarily try out. I did get to play versus like an AI sort of thing, but I got to see some of what we saw in the gameplay trailer. I more so spoke with the people there and talked with whoever was available about the game and about their plans and about how they're thinking about it. Like, what are they doing? What's their vision for it? What are they trying to accomplish? What are they trying to achieve? The game, I can tell you, and I said this when I first went, the game feels very good. It feels excellent to play. It's very responsive. Doesn't feel clunky at all, even in their pre-alpha, which is a very good sign for me, because that just means that they're going to have all of the feedback whenever they do the pre-alphas and the alphas and the betas to fine-tune things as they need to be. But again, I didn't really like focus even too much on playing the game, more so their responses and their ideas for how generally the game is going to be. In my mind, in my head, the game is already going to be solid and feel good. I'm more so curious about what is the flow of the game. What is their ideas and philosophy when it comes to like upgrades and things like that. You saw that there is creeps in the game based on that clip that we just saw where they're fighting the chicken. There is going to be like creeping. Grubby's confirmed that as well on his social medias. And there's going to be like things that you can achieve by creeping on the map. So it's nice to hear that nice to see that they're focusing on active gameplay. That's one of the things, in my opinion, about StarCraft 2 that was a little bit of a turnoff, not only for new players, but also veteran players, is turtle strategies that you only turtle. That's your only win con. Turtling up for a time, I think, is very important, and each faction needs to be able to do that. You should be able to get defender's advantage. It should be harder for you to attack your opponent than it is for them to defend. But that shouldn't be the only way that you can win the game. You shouldn't be like an unstoppable defense. And if you do stay at home, you should lose some large objective on the map that could turn the tide in the opponent's favor. So the human units that we were able to see and get revealed were... Let's see what we have on these ones. I think we have... You saw the Lancer, which is the sword guy. I'm trying to see. I think this one shows a bit better. Yeah. So we have the Lancer, which is like a frontline soldier that has longer reach. So they have like they're not just straight up Zerglings like melee units from what we can see. And they have a shield upgrade that gives them the ability to shrug off some damage. So they're like zealots that have a little bit longer reach, and they have some amount of shield that you have to go through or that you can upgrade in order to make them survivable so you can actually get to where they need to go. So they're footmen from Warcraft 3. Yeah, I think footmen have block. Yeah, so they're like footmen, but also with reach. I don't know if they have any speed upgrade. It doesn't mention anything. There's the Exo, which I think are these guys, which are like the basic soldier unit. It's interesting to me that the humans have like a ranged tier 1 fighter and a melee tier 1 fighter. It makes me very curious about what the other tier 1 units of the game are going to be for the other factions. So the humans have maybe siege tank tech, because in StarCraft 2, I kind of have to split my understanding from StarCraft 2, because human tech, it would be crazy if they had like a melee unit that could tank a bunch of frontline damage for them, right? Because they have access to siege tanks so early. So maybe they're making like bio versus mech a much more dedicated decision, where maybe you wouldn't even have siege tanks, or you'd only have a couple if you're not focusing on mech or something like that. You have named the artillery unit Blaberto. Okay, well, the actual name of it is the Atlas. Long-range artillery mech that rain down area of effect damage. Purification ordnance upgrade. Its attack leaves behind damaging fields of flames. And they can cause friendly fire damage. Okay, so it doesn't seem like if you're using these... So that's this here. So I think that was like the ordnance blast that we saw, like the AoE. It looks like you can dodge out of the way. But then once it hits, it leaves some like fire on the ground. So it does like a AoE damage over time. So I'm sure the initial blast is huge, but also the dot over time in that area makes the battlefield more difficult for your opponent to play through. There is the MedTech, which I think are these. Yeah. This was one of the units revealed as well. Can heal and repair allies and enhance nearby forces. Adept training, they can unleash a swarm of nanobots to either attack an enemy or heal an injured ally. Oh, interesting. And I think that's this. So I think this is the heal. So they have dual purpose. They can heal and attack, it seems like. It says they can repair, so I wonder if these actually can be used for mechanical units as well. That would be interesting if you could heal both bio and mech with these guys. It sounds like that might be what the case. And then these dogs are the scouts, which are like a tier 1 unit. I think they're like even pre-tier 1, because they had the scouts before they built any buildings in the trailer or in the gameplay reveal. So they didn't even have buildings done, and they had scouts out. So it seems like that I can't remember. Well, it seems like this is like your Reaper unit. But I don't know if, we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and see. They seem to have a slow, the scouts. Yeah, they do. And it was also interesting that workers could repair them. So it seems like if you try to run away from the scouts, you're just going to lose whatever unit it is because of their melee slow. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I wonder why put a slow on them. Just so maybe when you do worker harassment, you can't save them as easily? I suppose so, because you could potentially, like, versus a Reaper, you could run them out of range and save them by, like, gas tricking, or for Zerg, you could just make them into a building. So maybe by doing a bit of a melee slow, you make it harder for the defender to save workers as easily. I'm curious if scouts are faster than worker units. And if they're not, then that might be where the slow comes into play. And then there's the Vulcan, which are these big guys. Mech has a Gatling gun that spins up and deals increased damage. So it sounds like the longer it attacks for, the more damage it does. That's just what I don't know that for sure, but spins up, deals increased damage. Yeah. So maybe that's going to be coupled with like a cooldown or something, or if it overheats. That's a typical type of thing that I see with these kind of upgrades or whatever. Jump Jet upgrades allow Vulcans to reposition in combat and can stun any enemies in its way. They can also be used to clear out trees. Okay, so that's what we saw in the gameplay footage, where it was smashed through trees. And then I also think when it dropped near the chickens, we saw it like body check one of them and stun one of the units that was there. So that's kind of cool. Fires piercing rounds that can punch through multiple units in a straight line, dealing damage to all of them. So Mech does seem quite defensively set up. Huh. That's kind of crazy that it shoots multiple units. So they're like specifically, if there's a swarm army in the game, I feel like these like Vulcans are going to be absolutely giga crazy. So I'm wondering how the other factions are going to be able to deal with that. Like whatever the swarm faction is. How do you deal with a unit that can literally just hit multiple ones of your units at the same time in a choke point like this? Like imagine you were on Lingbane or whatever, right? Versus Vulcans. What the fuck would you even do? You have two of these things shoot. I hope with the Atlas cannons that you're able to target fire the ground. That would be really cool. Otherwise, I could see it totally. If you can't, like I know Warcraft 3, the catapults for undead, you could target fire, or any of them, you could target fire the ground. So I hope you can do that with this. Otherwise, I could see you like, oh, they're coming. I want to have this AoE fire damage in place already. Let me move up one of my scouts to here and here, shoot them with my own units, and create this like wall of fire that exists so that they already are taking damage as soon as they walk through it. So we'll have to see. There's the worker unit, which they're affectionately calling Bob. They're Bobs. A smiley face robot worker who harvests resources, builds structures, repair mechanical units, and even muster a solid defense in a pinch. Ah, okay. So they might have some, I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe they'll have like a town hall footman. What was that called in Warcraft 3? The humans, you could ring the bells. Call to arms. It was call to arms. Where are you getting all this unit info? There is a sheet of facts that is now available for people who went to the VIP meeting to share. So there you go. Militia dudes. Yeah, the militias. So that's why I'm now sharing it with you. And you can use multiple Bobs to work together on a structure. So they have speedy building like humans. Well, and actually, what's interesting is all of this that I'm sharing was shown in the trailer. It just maybe you didn't understand what it was that you were seeing. Maybe they do have call to arms, or maybe they're just not useless in melee like SCVs. Potentially. Any human units just punch stuff? I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know what it means. That's just what it says. Yet I am factless. That's not true. I'm giving you the facts now. Scout robot dogs with frickin' laser eyes. Have heightened senses that can even identify the presence of enemies still concealed in fog of war. Oh, okay. So they have like a sensor tower thing around them. Then that's what that would mean to me, is that you can see through fog of war in some area around the scouts. I was wondering, like, why would you have scouts in this late game composition, seemingly, other than I want to showcase all the units in this one picture. Oh, okay. They said so in the gameplay reveal too. I must have missed it. So you must get like, I think it's like a little notification that they're in fog of war. That's actually kind of sick. So scouts, like, because that's one of the things that's sad about Reapers is they're just totally useless eventually. But you could like hide little scouts around the map. I kind of like that. You're making these little doggies so that you have scouting information. That's mobile, so that's beneficial to you, but also probably easier to be killed. So, interesting. With a warning, how scouts can activate advanced ocular scanners to temporarily see further, including through forests which would normally block their vision. Oh, okay. So you can actually temporarily get like true vision on them. Sick. Lancer, we looked at those. Exo. Oh, here we go. Can pick up double time upgrade to temporarily increase its movement speed. If it shoots during this period, it fires 2 shots instead, then reverts to normal speed. So that's these guys. So that's like stim. They have a stim upgrade on the ranged human units. We looked at Atlas, the evac transport, which isn't in this picture, but we did see during the trailer anyways. Here's some more pictures. I'll just kind of cycle through and look through pictures here. So yeah, these are the same units we've seen so far. I'm very curious about the Atlas like siege tank. I wonder how that's going to play. If that's just going to be like, if that's going to feel bad because you can just easily avoid it, or if it's still good to have like that AoE. I suppose if you're shooting multiple areas at the same time, it's not that big of a deal. Their charge up and fire looks really cool though. They got this nice 6 screenshot in like multiple stages of it firing. That's kind of nice. Let's see if there's any other ones here that I'm missing. Oh, there's this. The big battle. So yeah, you would imagine Bio versus Mech. I mean, it looks like, I don't know, between the two, it looks like Bio would win this because they have a nice flank going at the same time. I wonder how the Lancer's shield ability works. To be honest, you think the Atlas will have faster projectile speed? Potentially. But you do get this big, nice AoE warning. So you should be able to move out of the way. It depends on, I guess, how quick the unit is underneath and how fast it reveals. Because it looks like this shot is like midair. So when does this circle get put on the ground? You know? That's what I'm curious about. And then how fast is their rate of fire? They said that it does. They must. You must not use this in a bio army, because if you shoot your own lancers, that seems very stupid. So that seems incompatible to have something that potentially does friendly fire to units that you have up in the fray. So it must be split between mech and bio. So curious about that. Okay, so this is the barracks. Hold on, let me go back to my little facts. The barracks produces tier 1 units such as this. Oh, you do need this to produce the scout. Such as the scout, lancer, exo, and medtech. So those are all tier 1, which I think we knew already. The only thing I wasn't sure about is if the scout was tier 1 or not. But it looks as if it is. This is the biokinetics lab. Researches upgrades for infantry such as the lancer shields. So it's not an attachment to barracks like it was in StarCraft 2, at least not currently. It seems like it's its own upgrade facility, which I like. The add-on switching of StarCraft 2 was pretty cool. I thought that was actually some pretty interesting gameplay that you could do for Terran. I don't mind that it's its own separate building. I don't know how human players will feel about that, or rather, I guess Terran players. Okay, this is the evac. Transport units picks up and drops off allied units, including a deployed Atlas. So you can actually have dropped, so essentially siege drops. So they can already be sieged up. Like in StarCraft 1, yeah, the Academy. Exactly, it's like the Academy. So you can, I guess the big thing with this, the big difference, who knows what the unit capacity is. It seems like it could hold 2 Vulcans. We didn't see it drop an Atlas. So it seems like you can already have a sieged up Atlas ready to go. This is giving me, what's the word in StarCraft 1? What are those worm thing called that the Protoss have? Reavers. This is giving me Reaver drop vibes. Or I guess disruptor drops. Imagine this flying into your base and just nuking your mineral line with a sieged up Atlas. That seems actually kind of bonkers. And then it leaves a damage over time effect, so you can't put workers back there for an amount of time. Damn, that sounds actually super toxic. That's Sag. The shots are not instant. It's true, but the damage over time is what I'm concerned about. I'm wondering how effective that is. Like, if I move a unit into it, is it just going to die super fast? So until we see numbers and stuff, we won't really truly know, of course. This is the habitat. So this is like your food increasing structure. Increases supply, build them to expand your army. Looks very cool. I like the look of it. I like that each structure does have a unique feel to it. Habitat looks like it is actually, it's not just like a square, like supply depot was the most boring supply structure because it's literally just a box. Like, okay, great. Let me build my box so I can hold more supplies, which makes sense in like a traditional standpoint, but it's still very boring. So this is cool because it's like, oh yeah, you actually grow food here. You actually do stuff. So that's kind of neat. I think this is just a map picture. This is just terrain. Terrain looks really cool in my opinion. I really like how the game looks itself. I know people were very critical on the art style and direction because it wasn't exactly like StarCraft 2, where StarCraft 2 is a bit more grim and bleak. This has a bit more of a like almost a Dota style to it. Cliffs and ramps here. Yep. You got your cliffs, you got your ramps. The only thing I'm curious about in stuff like this is I hope the terrain is very readable. And what I mean by that is like, can I walk over here or is that blocked off? Like, when does this foliage become blocking terrain? Can I walk in here? Can I have a unit sit here? Can I, like, where exactly can my units go in here? StarCraft 2 isn't perfect at that, but it's pretty readable immediately. Anything that looks like it blocks you does a pretty good job of reading. So elevation is a factor. Oh yeah, of course they have to have elevation in the game. That would be so boring if it was just like a flat level ground. But yeah, this does confirm it. I wonder if there's going to be mischance. What does the vision like? Looking up ramps, all these little nitty gritty things. This is the Lancer. We already saw him. He looks like a strong boy. How do you guys feel about the direction of the human units? They are all like, even like the quote unquote bio units are all very mechanical. Like they have giant power suits on and things like that. Were you hoping for it to be more like bio units are like military fatigues, like clothes, or do you dig the more spacey vibes of it with like giant plasma sword? I like plasma sword. I think that's pretty neat. I'm glad that they're not just a stock standard like Terran sort of thing. You think it makes sense? Yeah, that's fair. Machine Factory. What does this do? Research upgrades for mechanical and air units and has a conveyor belt. Look at this. There's the conveyor belt. Society RTS, so fatigues would not make sense. Okay, I mean, that's fair. You definitely could do not as like chunked up armor though. This is the mech bay. It has its own pool of lava. Whoa, tasteful conveyor. Yeah, there you go. Has its own lava pool. One thing I did ask them about and sort of get their take on was how to know that a building is... Like, I was curious about how readable it would be. I love readability and like understanding what I'm looking on the screen very quickly. Because it can get very chaotic very fast where you just can't comprehend the things that are happening. And one of the complaints in StarCraft 2, this is very specific, but like when Zerg, or actually for any faction, when you're newer to the game, you don't necessarily know what a structure is or what it's for. And I would say B, when you find out what the structure is for, you then have to learn what it looks like when it's actually making something. So I was curious about their take on that. How readable will it be when a structure is idle versus creating something? Will it be very obvious, or is it going to be like a cybernetics core where its lights flash a little bit faster? Skyrider. I actually don't know what this is, and they don't have any information on it, so it's just a picture. There you go. Here's the picture. Who knows what this is? It looks pretty cool. In StarCraft 2, that's easier with Terran and Protoss buildings for you. Yeah, Zerg ones, it's kind of shimmering, or it's like moving a little bit. The Therium Refinery. I think this is... Oh yeah, Therium Refinery. Secondary resource drop-off point and research for various passive upgrades. Nice, nice, nice. Seems like an aerial support / caster unit. You can see it has the mana / energy bar. Yeah, it must be... I wonder if it's like Science Vessel in StarCraft 1. Aggressively bubbles. Yeah, that's how you know it's doing something. I totally agree with you, Senchu. It's not readable at all. It looks like a shredder. Well, you saw the 2 resources in the game from the gameplay trailer. There's like the big mountain mine node thing that does have your workers stand on the outside and walk, which is kind of interesting, as opposed to like mineral patches. So it seems like what's nice is you don't have to do worker splits in the beginning of the game, or at least I don't think you're going to have to, because like worker splits in StarCraft 2 was one of those things where people would try it and oftentimes just mess it up. It does look more like the gold mine of Warcraft. I agree. They do have names for it. They have Luminite, which is the primary resource. That's like your lava mountain. Can be mined by 12 bob workers before severe diminishing returns. Used to pay for almost everything. The other resource is called Therium. Secondary resource, it's the gray glowing green blobs, which I think we saw. Yeah, this. Here it is. You can see it there. So this is the secondary resource. Am I blocking this at all? Or yeah, it's this stuff. This is the secondary resource called Therium. Mostly used to pay for advanced units and structures and upgrades. It spreads around, so it actually enriches. So it replenishes itself, unlike gas in StarCraft. Spreads around and enriches when unmined, providing players with strategic options about where and when they should expand. Therium appears in various forms that each have different gameplay mechanisms, including exposed patches and underground veins. Interesting. Worker splits are just let's make it more difficult for new players. Well, I don't even think that they necessarily thought about, oh yeah, we're going to intend on people to split their workers when the game starts. More so, players are always going to try to find whatever the most efficient maximum thing, like maximized thing they can do in the game is. And so that was splitting workers at the beginning of the game. You saw workers mining from one big rock. Do you know anything about that? Yeah, the big rock is your primary resource called Luminite. That's like your gold. That's like your minerals. It's used to pay for everything. That's your primary resource. And then this secondary resource is called Therium. Therium. Pay for advanced units and structures and upgrades. Gradually spreads and enriches when not mined. So you can get more of it. And I don't know if it mines for more. I don't know if that's what enriches means. How will Luminite be distributed? Are there bases? We don't know necessarily, but they do say Therium appears in various forms, and they each have different gameplay mechanisms, like exposed patches and underground veins. So you may have to like break something in order for it to appear. That's what underground veins kind of sounds to me. But yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I think that's pretty much it. I think we looked at basically everything they have that we can show. So what do you guys think? Are you excited about the gameplay reveal? Can I go back and look at it again here? I found it. We'll watch it one more time.
Valuable testing ground for world-leading AI research.
Play a game of it. Just kidding.
Can it
I
be just
can't.
a coincidence then that I'd end up the kind of man to name himself an AI visionary? I mean, probably. But what's no coincidence is my excitement for the eagerly anticipated RTS from former Warcraft and StarCraft devs at Frost Giant Studios. It's Stormgate, and today we don't just get the chance to get some exclusive first look at some Stormgate gameplay, but we're also joined by Frost Giant.
Why is he dressed like
game
Jobs?
director Tim Campbell here to tell us
It's like a
exactly
funny
how
take on
Stormgate
it.
will delight all minds, artificial or otherwise. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Now, I've been following Stormgate for years, but for those of us who haven't, what is Stormgate?
Stormgate is our modern take on the classic real-time strategy game formula. It's what we think of as a spiritual
hold on.
successor to
Sorry,
franchises
Tim.
like-
I want to listen to you, man, but I also want to look at the things that are happening here. Because I can tell relatively then how fast the Atlas shoots.
Minds, artificial or otherwise. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
Now, I've been following Stormgate for years, but for those of us who haven't, what is Stormgate?
Stormgate is our modern take on the classic real-time strategy game
Oh, they are slow. Look how slow those things move.
formula.
It is not fast. It is not quick. At least currently, it takes a year for them to get
It's what
there.
we think of as a
And I wonder about bunching up. You saw they all literally just attacked the same spot. That would be different. That would not be effective. You would obviously want them to spread out. Maybe it's normal game speed. That's true. But I can only go off of what I'm seeing here. So I'm just gonna have to anticipate. I don't know.
spiritual successor to franchises like Warcraft, StarCraft, Command and Conquer. And real-time strategy games are the type of game where you can control an entire battlefield. So this classic RTS formula includes harvesting resources, building sprawling bases, commanding huge armies on the battlefield.
What is it about Stormgate that's new?
We believe
Okay. It's like a scout army over here. That's kind of sick. You can also see Medbots healing Vulcans. Yeah, that's true. I see that here. I wonder how far away they need to be.
that the
Is this one actively healing, or is it just a cast and now it's just sitting there? Hold on.
formula includes
My
harvesting
dogs.
resources, building sprawling bases, commanding huge armies on the battlefield.
What is it about Stormgate that's new?
It looks as if they're doing something. I don't know if that's actively healing.
We believe that the RTS
No, they're shooting. Okay, so the heal is actually just something that you cast, I think. And then they're shooting little bullets. It's a one cast hot. It seems like it's a one cast heal over time. And then there's this little thing. What is that thing doing?
genre
It's flying around.
something-
It flew by. Hold on. Did it do anything?
Lines. Artificial.
on the battlefield.
What is it about Stormgate
This thing right here. What is this doing? What are you doing, eye in the sky?
that's new?
We believe that the
It's just zooming
RTS
around.
genre is
Okay,
something
that's
that
all it's
should be
doing
enjoyed by
currently.
players of
I
all
can't
skill
tell.
levels. And so we put a lot of effort into making sure that Stormgate feels good, whether you're a pro.
Recall there
with
was
high
another
technical
unit that
skill
put out
and
an
love
AoE
competitive
heal.
play,
Maybe
or
it's
whether
that?
It's something that you just want to be able to relax with and experience a story.
Now, Tim, I understand that you brought for all of us, but in particular for
Mute
me,
the
a
VOD.
present to show today.
I can.
We are going to show gameplay
I want to listen to
from
him
the
though.
pre-alpha of Stormgate.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that we are big believers in at Frost Giant. We want to share this current state of the game today.
Let's take a look. Oh, Tim, I'm so excited.
Okay, so this is your Luminite here. So that you just have workers on it. Looks like maybe you start with no, I mean maybe you have to start under this amount. So you don't start maxed, which is good, obviously. And these are okay, so this is ADFG. Okay, so they're trying to go for the second two rows, and then QWERT. So they're doing a grid style system. That's going to be difficult for me to learn, to be honest, but I'll do what I must to survive. All the hotkeys are grid, yeah. I wonder if you can change it. Not having A on attack is going to be very hard for me. You're making a clan called the Illuminati. Okay. And you can immediately pull off to go mine this, but it is quite a far distance away from your command structure, and you can only, I guess, max of 4.
And right away, this looks like an RTS. Tell me what we're seeing.
This is the classic start to a 1v1 match. What you're seeing here is the human faction as they're sending workers out to harvest resources.
I like the way that their structures build. I think that looks really cool. Yeah, you can build a structure like a lumber mill, yeah.
As they're starting to construct building, they actually build them by 3D printing them from the ground up. And
Yeah,
you
that's
can see
kinda
them now
sick.
starting to train troops so they can have an army. that
So
goes out.
this is actually important because that means you can tell what's being built before it's done. So that's cool. You can actually tell based on the relative size of the structure, and then you start seeing an idea of it. This is actually, that's very important when you scout stuff. Because, for instance, StarCraft 2, when you scout Protoss, you have to click every building that's being built. Because it's like, okay, well, that could be a gateway, that could be a Stargate, that could be, you know, another cybernetics core, that could be a pylon. What if that's a dark shrine? You know, all of those things. You just don't know what it is. So this is actually very key information. So that's very nice. I'm glad that they have readability when it comes to that. And then let's look at this. This is producing a unit. So let's see. The barracks normally looks like this. So if I compare the two, the light is on. The door is open and the light is on. That's the only thing. I don't know if I love that. I wish there was some more effects happening. This gets moved up as well, it looks like. It's covered in like a tent or like some kind of canvas. That's interesting. It looks like a covered StarCraft 2 barracks. It actually kind of does, you're right. You think there's another tell? Okay, we'll play it.
Field fight.
Okay,
Yeah,
this
I mean,
spins.
Right here, we in the
And it
corner.
flashes. I mean, the flashing is pretty good.
Yeah, that is literally a cybernetic dog with laser eyes. It is called the Scout. Okay, it's designed for early game. It's a unique.
Wait. We had
human
information.
faction. Right. And you can see them here.
We missed it. Hold on.
As they're sending workers out to harvest resources, they're starting.
These
to
little
construct
fans
buildings.
start
They
to
actually
move.
build them by 3D printing them from the ground up.
So they're kind of idle
You can see them
spin.
now starting to train troops, so they can have an army that goes out in the field to fight.
Yeah,
That moves up.
right here, we
It's
see
the
corner
flashing door is the important part for sure. Okay, so we have attack is on A. Yes. Thank God. All right, we're saved, boys. Am I blocking much? So they have attack on A. It looks like stop is on X, hold is on D, move is F, and then there's one that I'm blocking, which is G, which is patrol. And then this looks like to be their laser vision. I like the command card for it. That's kind of sexy. That's cool. And then it has 120 HP, which this I'm sure is going to look different once the game is out. This looks like this is just giving very basic info to start with. But overall, it looks good. Looks good.
Coming up, this looks like a scout unit.
Yeah, that is literally a cybernetic dog with laser eyes. It is called the Scout. Okay, it's designed for early game. It's a unique unit to the human faction.
Right.
And you can see them now running.
The crazy thing about this is you could actually calculate what the average resource per minute is just based on this information here, because you see these workers harvesting luminite.
Through the base, trying to see what information he can find out about
It seems like they
he's
gather
scouting
4
and
at a time.
information.
Yeah, they gather 4 luminite at a time. So that's interesting. So you're not gathering 5. Interesting that they decided to do 4. I wonder why that is. Lancers have 250 HP as well. Or 8.
Such an important part of our
No, see, because it went
It
to
really is, and
24.
this is something that
It's
we've embraced early
multiple
game. The
workers
Scout
returning
unit
it.
has
It's
been
doing it in
designed so it can
increments of
actually
4.
sense units beyond its sight radius. So it's
awesome.
especially useful early on.
So we're heading into what looks like the first engagement.
Okay, so
of
there's
this game.
the-
What are we seeing?
There was the effect of being able to see through fog of war with your scout. Interesting they didn't go for 8 like in StarCraft 1. Well, this is a little bit further on in the game, so maybe they've already made a worker unit, Nodokasa. I'm curious what these are too. This looks like maybe that underground luminite or underground therium. I think that's probably what these patches are, but I don't know that for sure. So that to me, that's what that reads as. And you can see on the map, if we look at the mini map, if we enhance here, let me move you guys out of the way. You can see on the map, there's a heart symbol here. That might be something. There's an eye symbol here. That might be like a watchtower, and this is like a healing well or creep camps. And then I think these little squares probably represent creep camps. This is obviously the enemy side. I don't know what the X's are. Is there an X where my vision is? No, there's not. Is there... They would go this way. Those are creep camps. Kill mobs get different things. Healing, scouting, stuff like that. You hope there's no creep camps or healing wells. You hate that about Warcraft 3. There is creep camps 100%. There are neutral
What we're
creeps.
seeing right here is the Red Scout.
I
getting
believe
surprised by
we've
a
seen
group of
that in
blue
this
troops coming
gameplay.
through the Light Forest, which is the new train.
And they've
type
talked
twist
about
on
neutral
the
creeps.
tactical battlefield here.
And how do these light forests work?
The Light Forest lets smaller units move through them.
What is this? What is this ability? The Z. This looks like a little missile or nuke. So they're 5 minutes in. They've already expanded to another
Concealment.
base.
It's allowed Blue to raid Red's base, in which case Red is barely getting a turret built with their speed.
Oh, it
building
looks
from
like...
their
Oh,
workers.
hey, hold on a second.
A human faction advantage.
Sorry.
Of this game, what are we seeing?
Well, what we're seeing right here is the Red Scout getting.
Yeah, there's a Bob. There's his little happy face there. 150. Z, X, C, and V. Z, build basic. X, build advanced. C, resource drop. V, repair. And then the other same command card here.
Surprised by a group of blue troops.
But they
coming
click the
through
command
Light
center?
Forest, which is the new train type and a twist on the tactical battlefield here.
And how do these light forests work?
This looks like you can lift up the command center or maybe upgrade it. Maybe that's what it... Either it looks like a lift or an upgrade. One of the two on this structure, this key here.
Light
Yeah,
force lets smaller
the
units move through
humans
them, they
have
concealment.
advanced
Draw blue to
healing.
raid red's base.
Oh, and they
In
have
this case,
they
red
did
is
this
barely
overcharge
getting, a
ability.
turret
I don't know
built
what
with their
that's
speed
doing to
building
them
from their
though.
workers,
But yeah, it
and
looks
now
like
they're
that
breaking
does
this action together.
overcharge them and makes them
And they're
more
about to pop
efficient
out a
at
couple extra
fighting.
defenders here from their mech base.
So we got these huge mechs, and I mean, just visually, it looks like they are countering the heck out of these blue infantry. But can these red mechs fit through the forest?
No,
It
they're
doesn't
too
look
big to
like
go through. They're
Vulcans
heavy units.
start
They're
with the
designed to defuse
ability
their chain guns
to
groups of enemies, but they can't
move
fit
through the
light force,
trees.
which Blue knew and used to his advantage.
I'm gonna
so
move
we're in
myself up a
mid-game.
little
This is
bit.
normally where you make some big tech decisions. What's red up to?
You're seeing red commit to a tech path that gives them big battlefield mechs and air units like this evac.
And it looks like they're just
Okay, yeah, so
dropping
here you
right on
go.
top
This is some creep camp stuff, so that's an upgrade. And then this is their placeholder chickens that they have for now.
of blue, who was killing a chicken. What's the chicken there, Tim?
Yeah, that's a giant chicken with a Viking helmet on it. Use your imagination. Stormgate's in pre-alpha, and that's art that we haven't gotten to yet, but imagine it as a big
Oh, and they got
Mad
resource
Max
for it.
raider.
It's the most threatening placeholder art for now. And
There's
I
that
see
charge
red
ability. That
diving
was pretty
onto blue.
sick.
And hey, picking back up into the air transport. That's some classic high-level micro.
It is, and it's really important for Stormgate that we maintain a high skill ceiling so that players can express themselves on the battlefield by maneuvering.
Damn, the
how they
Atlas
interact
fires
with the
very
battlefield.
slowly.
And here we have the final fight of the game, and it looks like blue is coming up
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to see if they have the
against
upgrade
those
or
mechs.
not.
Red
But
is trapped on the other side of the trees. Oh, wait, they can blast through them now? And blue's dodging these enormous shots, and we can also see blue swarming in from both sides. This is not looking good for red. Tim.
No, it's pretty grim. Red is on the ropes right here, and they've been outmaneuvered. They're caught in the corner here between.
What are these
two different
things
forces
doing?
Coming in with a
Yeah.
mobile pincer.
are they anti-air? They're anti-air.
There's the GG.
They're shooting at the evac. Hold on, look.
RTS game, GG. Get Tastosis on that stat. RTS game.
And they've been outmaneuvered. They're
Here we go. Right here, these things they're shooting at the evacs, so they at least have some
here
anti-air
between-
function as they shoot their little bullets there.
two different forces coming in with.
They
the
don't
other
do very much damage though, so that doesn't look
and
to be
of
their
course,
there's the
primary.
GGs.
Most classic RTS game.
function,
GG.
maybe.
Get Tastosis on that stat. Outside of 1v1, what's coming up for Stormgate?
What you've seen today is just the tip
Very
of the
cool.
iceberg. We have so much more.
All right, I think that's about
bunch of
as
stuff
much
about
analysis
Stormgate
as I'm
for the
gonna
rest of
do,
this year.
guys.
We're introducing new modes. We have a 3-player versus
Very
a
exciting.
cooperative mode. We have team-based competitive modes. We're going to be sharing information about
A little
our
bit more
storyline and
info.
campaign. We have new factions beyond the humans that you just saw today.
But Tim, what if I want to play the game right now?
This is important.
You want to play the game as soon as possible. You wish list Stormgate on Steam, and you go to playstormgate.com to sign up for the beta. We're starting closed testing in July.
Go do
Once
it.
again, go to Steam and wishlist Stormgate. Tim, thank you so much again for joining us, not just to talk about the 1v1 footage you shared, but the future content plans of Stormgate. It makes the RTS players' dreams come true. Which might not be your dreams. I mean, your dreams might.
Nope, that's my dreams. Those are my dreams, day 9. You can just stop right there. Wishlist it. Guys, make sure you go to playstormgate.com. Sign up for the beta. Go to Steam. Wishlist it there. It's super, super important that you go do that. Please, please, please. If you do nothing from this other than enjoy the video, go listen to Mr. Day J, Mr. Day Jobs over here. Team games for Stormgate, if we get beta, we'll have to see, man. I don't know what's going to be released in the beta. If they have it, I would be down for sure. That would be awesome. That would be super awesome. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have links to go to the beta and wishlisting it on Steam in the description below. So make sure you go there. Guys, that's going to do it. I think that was a awesome amount of information, a super solid reveal. What do you guys think about it, though, from what you saw? Are you happy? You happy with the gameplay reveal? Are you happy with the direction of it? I mean, to me, again, this was I did get to play it. I did get to check it out. Even from when I played it, this is looking even better than before. I think the terrain, the environment, and the art direction are all super cool. I really, really like it. Yeah, I'm very curious how the battles are going to feel, how the length of each fight is going to feel based on just the early skirmishes that they showed. It looks like your units aren't going to just immediately get blown up the second something looks at them, so I really like that aspect of it too. So you're happy with it, did not disappoint. Tentatively positive, there's distinctive units, that's important. I need to see another race. You hope there's no heroes in multiplayer. We'll have to see what information gets revealed about all of that. Not sure at this point what their direction is going to be. I think they're still leaving some things behind closed doors and secretive. So we'll just have to wait and see what their plan is. If they do Heroes, if they do it in multiplayer, are they just going to do it in team games? Are they going to do it in team games at all? Are they going to do it in 1v1 multiplayer? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they decide. What they do, if they decide to do Heroes, period. I don't know. I have no idea. But very, very cool, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. This was information we got to see and kind of already had, so not too big of a deal for us, but for you guys, being able to publicly share and talk about this information is super cool and super awesome, and I cannot wait until next month. I do get access to the closed alpha, and I'm so excited. I think it's the closed pre-alpha. I don't think it's closed alpha, but anyways, I get to play it officially again next month. So take care, everybody. Bye bye.